Alrighty, guys, welcome. So, this week we'll be talking about making you guys some cash. And for doing that today, we're going to be talking about raising your prices. And before we get into that, I want to talk to you guys about how 10x is easier than 2x. It sounds crazy, right? But if you really think about it, there's this wonderful book called 10x is easier than 2x, written by Dan Sullivan. And he talks about this concept in thorough detail. I'm not promoting or pitching the book in any way. If anything, I'm just going to be talking and summarizing it here for you guys right now, so you're going to have to buy the book. Basically, it just talks about how for 2x the effort, it takes a certain amount of time to produce that effort, and that same amount of time, you can produce 10x the effort. You can produce 10x the result with the same amount of effort. So, I also want to demonstrate this with a story that I have with some of my friends that I work with. They're my colleagues in Fastlane, and they're both land developers. They had the same size team. They were both equally talented leaders, and they both had the same amount of hours a day. But one earned 100x more than the other one did in a very, very similar deal. But how? How did that happen, right? My friend Chris, he owns an independent land development program or a company that specializes in filling contracts to the government. So he builds like schools, playgrounds, stuff like that. Took on a $5 million contract with the government to build a school. Cost them $1.8 million to develop. After staffing, zoning, permit costs, salaries, etc., he was left with $1.3 million in profit. So my friend Rob, who used to operate AECOM, he was a founder of that company. It's now the fourth largest land development firm and architectural firm in the world. He told me that he had a contract where he's building a new JFK terminal. He was granted $2 billion in contracts from the government to build infrastructure, roads, etc. for this. And he was left with $300 million in profit after everything was said and done. Most of the expenses for paying his executive staff, bonuses, and then cutting costs. And then his own personal profits, he took home $42 million. Now we're comparing $1.3 million and $42 million. Both men spent the same amount of time in the boardroom to get the deal, but the deals were significantly different in size. That's crazy, right? They had same size teams. Both men earned significantly different figures from each other, but one was literally paid more than 35 times more than the other. Why? We sat in the same restaurant. We were on the same car group. One was earning significantly more than the other. And the reason why, in the end, is because some of us, we just think too small. This reflects the perceived value that you have onto your customers. So if you think small, you attract small and you'll work with small. If you think big, you'll attract big and you'll work with big. The importance of the story is to help you understand the importance of perceived value and how you can earn more by creating more value in the same exact amount of time. Hopefully this helps you in figuring out how you can raise your prices. On how exactly to raise your price, I would just raise it 20% and then see if you're able to land a sale. You might be surprised. People probably won't even know. They'll just perceive your program as the value of that program. So if you're at 5,000, you start charging 6, you'd be surprised. People might just be accepting that it's 6,000. The mental gap from 5 to 6 probably isn't that big. The perception of it isn't too big. So you should give it a try, see how it goes. Anyways, it's the whole point of this week is to challenge you guys into thinking differently, to thinking bigger, thinking better, and to help you earn some cash. And this is just one of the ways to do it. You're welcome.